Hey everyone, Kelly here from Zen Planner, and I'm with Matt Klingler from Village Fitness. It's early out there in LA, Matt, where you are. I'm excited to talk to you today, and I want to learn about you and your business. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and my wife Nicole and I run Village Fitness. We have two locations here in the Los Angeles area, and we opened 8 years ago. Um, and we just opened the second one a little over a year ago, kind of near Pasadena. And um, we're really passionate about what we do, like all gym owners, I'm sure. We love to help people. We want to see specifically people over 40 um, take back their health through strength training. That's kind of our mission is we
Oh,
help people over 40 through our
I
strength
love
training
that.
programs that are overseen by doctors of physical therapy. And our big goal is to have 20 locations in the next 10 years. So we're looking to add a third one, hopefully in the next 12 to 18 months, and then probably pick up the pace from there, start adding a little bit faster.
Okay, so you
Um,
were like
but
kind of
Zen
a
Planner's always been
OG
near and dear to
there,
my
eight
heart. We
years is a
actually
long time.
implemented
Yeah, yeah.
the Zen Planner Studio software before we opened 8 years ago. Oh, really? Yeah, my wife and I went to a couple fitness
Mhm.
conferences. Like we went to Perform Better, and then like this guy Bedros Keuilian had this fitness conference back in the day called Fitness Business Summit.
Okay.
We went to those before we opened, like 2015, 2016. So we opened in late 2016, and Zen Planner was there. And so I talked with the folks at the conference, and we were considering either Mind Body or Zen Planner, and it just felt
You
like
don't know
Zen
what you don't
Planner had
know, right?
the features that we wanted. Um, in actuality, I don't think I really knew what I was looking for at the time. What's really interesting is just like in the last, since we opened the second location, we've really had to get good at our systems and processes. And so I've dove back in to Zen Planner. We redid all of our automations, all of our memberships. We built all these reports within our studio account, and we've cleaned things up. And it's actually a much more
How
capable
did you come
software
to
than I originally
decide
understood.
the
It's been
second
really
gym,
helpful
and what
for
does that
us
look like as
just
far
in the
as
last year with two
running the
locations.
operations side of it? Okay.
The first one was full, and I mean, we could have found ways to cram more people or add more programs, but just felt like the best path to help the most people was to go to fertile soil elsewhere and plan a second one. So we've learned a lot, made a ton of mistakes. We just weren't organized enough. We weren't prepared enough to have a second location, and I think
Okay.
we've had to very painfully work our way through. So when we opened in July of 2023 last year, and we knew we had to get to 100 clients to be viable,
Hmm.
like just to be like
Hmm.
break even, make enough money to survive. And we got our first 40 clients within like a month, and we were stuck there. We were stuck there for like 4 or 5 months. We couldn't figure out why. Like, what is going on? Like, why is this not growing and succeeding? And um, as we dug deep, it's like there were a ton of issues. We had somebody managing the location that was not the right fit. Um, we had like systems and processes that were inefficient. Like the client experience was clunky. Um, and so we proceeded to like a pretty aggressively clean house, if you will. Got a new
Okay,
manager in
great.
place, new staff, and new systems, and kind of clean things out from the bottom up. And craziest thing happened, things just took off like a rocket ship. We have like 140 clients now, and
That's
that's
huge.
from November of
That's a
2023
big jump.
to now. We're
So you
first day of
mentioned client
October, so
experience, and
in
I
11
want
months
to talk about that real
we've
quick because
more than
obviously having
tripled
the right
our.
people in place and manager and coaches, but that client experience is
Mhm.
oftentimes like it's just missed sometimes, especially when you're in that hamster wheel of just trying to get new people in, and then now they're there and you forget about that experience. So, what did you change? What is their experience when they come into Village Fitness?
Well, one of the big things that we started to figure out was we're pretty good when they're inside the studio. Like what happens in the studio, like we deliver a good product. I mean, I'm sure most gym owners would say this about themselves that their product is great and that they have a good model. Um, what I don't think we were doing well at the time was getting people to hang out after session. Like people would just, they come in for their session and then they're gone. So we found somebody to be on our client care team
Mhm.
that really liked the hospitality aspect of like greeting people. We just didn't have the right person in place
Oh,
for that at the time. So we found somebody
yeah.
else that
Cool.
could do that better, that wanted to do that. We started making people really good coffee, and we got kombucha on tap. Like, and those things sound frivolous and unnecessary, but they're relatively inexpensive to solve the problem of people wanting to hang out. So now when I walk out into our little lobby area,
Yeah.
um, there's people hanging out all the time, chatting with each other, getting to know each other, and I think that kind of organic community building is really huge for people. Um, so that's what we did in session, and then we also have built a pretty robust follow-up system within Zen Planner Studio, that's triggered on our like based
Right.
on memberships. And I'm not trying to like do a promotion for Zen Planner. It's just like that's one of the things that we did was we built
Yeah.
out a robust follow-up system based on memberships. And so our conversions have gone up since then. We got all in all, we just got really organized. And I think most gym owners that I see, they focus a lot of their energy and
Yeah.
attention on the actual coaching and the product and the music and things like that. And what they miss is
Yeah.
that organization piece, the systems piece,
What
the people
tools, like on a
piece.
day-to-day
Like, are your
basis,
people doing the right things? Are they
are you
held
using
accountable to it? And do you have the right
inside of
systems
your
in place
software? So,
to
like,
deliver the experience that you want?
obviously, do you use Studio? Are you using the automations too? Are you using Engage as well? Okay, all right, that's what I thought. So, when did you integrate Engage into your system?
March. So, funny story. As we went through this kind of
Right.
rebuilding process, so I got really motivated last November when our second location was
Yeah.
basically failing. It's like, what is going on? Like, our first location knocked it out of the park. I feel like we have a good business model. What is the problem? And it turned out there were numerous problems, like I was talking about. And so I was like, I'm just going to solve all these problems one by one. And so it's like, we got the right people in the right seats. Two, we went and radically changed our systems. Um, and so I started in maybe January, February, I started to build my own CRM using Zapier and ChatGPT. And I was like, this is a huge project. I was like, I think I can make this do what I want it to do, but this is going to take me like
Yes.
6 months to build this. And then
This is tough for all of
I
us.
uh, I heard about Engage, which was called Engagement at the time. That transition's been really tough for me. Anyways, so I heard about
Yeah.
it and I was like, wait, so this software integrates directly with Studio and has the functionality of Calendly and my email software, which was Active Campaign, and it has a phone software, so it can take the place of Ring Central. So it does all of these things. I was like, that just sounds too good to be true. Um, and so I had a demo call, asked a bunch of questions, answered all my questions, and I was like, all right, let's at least give this a try. And me and somebody else on my team spent 3 months building out our Engage to basically not only take the place of Calendly, our email CRM software, and our phone software, but also make them better. Like we really built out robust automations within Engage, and
Hmm.
we've I think the biggest number that's changed for our business. This is probably one of the big things that's led to our growth is the number of people booking phone calls. So we
So are
went
these,
from
so
just at our main
how are you
location,
able
we
to
went
then
from less than 10
manage
phone
that?
calls a week to an average of
I mean,
30.
you have the staff in place, you have yourself, you have your wife.
So,
Um, that's a lot of phone calls a week that you guys are now fielding. Zen Planner is really intuitive as far as like growing and scaling with you. Have you had to like adjust staffing and hire more and because you've had tremendous growth quickly?
mhm. Not really. I mean, 30 phone calls is not,
Yeah.
I don't think it's that much. They're
Yep.
15-minute phone calls, so it's a total of,
I think
what is
so.
that, like
I'm going to trust you.
five hours a week,
From that phone call,
something like
what's the
that.
next step in that process for
Is my
that new
math right?
lead?
Yeah. It's not much. It's 7.5 hours a week. Yeah. So they have a phone call. Um, they get a text message confirming, reminding them about the phone call. They talk to somebody on the team. Somebody on the team fills out a form. They book them for a foundation session, which is an in-person consultation. The person gets a follow-up email, and then they fill out an intake form
Yeah.
before they come in. They come in for the foundation session. We take them through a sample workout, talk to them about their
Are they
goals, and then
are they coming
present
into
the
a group
different program
setting when they
options that they have.
do
It's pretty simple.
join, or is it's all one-on-one?
We've been doing that for years.
Okay.
We just didn't have the volume.
And then after that. Yeah.
The first session's one-on-one. Yeah. Yeah, I need to make a video just showing the process that we built. Because I think we've maximized the functionality of Engage to build automations that take the place of things that we
Okay.
were
Are
doing
you and you're running
previously.
are
Because
you
now we
did you
send people
integrate
up. So
obviously your
so
Facebook
most of
into
the 30
Engage? Are
phone
you're
calls
all
are
running?
coming from
Yeah.
Facebook
Okay.
ads. I didn't mention that. Oh yeah, yeah, that's really easy. Um, yes, our Facebook lead ads integrate with our Engage account, so the leads just
Mm-hmm.
pop in. And then when somebody fills out a form on Facebook, we prompt them to book a call
Right.
on the kind of
Mm-hmm.
like success page on Facebook. And so they get sent to our Engage call booking page to book a call. And then they book it. Most people will book the call right there. And if they don't,
Yeah.
within 15 minutes, we send them an automated text that says, hey, John, saw you filled out a form on interested in our fitness program, but didn't book a call. Was that by mistake? And we'll get a bunch of people to just book a call there. They'll say, no, it wasn't, or yes, it was a
Mm-hmm.
mistake. I meant to book a call, or I had this question. And so if somebody's on the staff is on responding to texts or just
So it
calling
sounds
those
like
people.
you've taken lots of different
Um,
pieces of the puzzle
and
and
then we
just
get
brought it
them,
into one
well, a lot of people booked for
one
first
spot, which
consultations
is
that way.
Engage and Studio. Um, what would you say? And I ask this question to everybody because there are so many features
Mm-hmm.
that it can be
Mm-hmm.
sometimes overwhelming. What would you say are the two things that you like really put your focus in first and foremost?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you continue like that growth mindset, right? Because new software, there's a learning curve. You said it was it took a couple months for you guys to build it all out and the workflows and all of the things. So what did you really focus on
Mm-hmm.
first inside of Engage to work for you?
Well, first we built out the automations for lead follow-up. So we built out an entire process taking people from when they fill out that form to getting them booked for a phone call. We created a bunch of manual tasks, um, even created some like automated recorded voicemails that get sent to them, a bunch of automated text messages, emails. And so we've increased the number of people from the number of people that are filling out forms. We're getting a lot more people to book calls. And then we just went to the next step. It's like, okay, now once we get somebody to book a call, how do we get them to actually show up for the phone call? So we built an automation. It's like, once they book the call, here's some things that have to happen. Okay, now once they have the call and book the first in-person consultation, what does that process look like? So we built an automation there. We actually, I met this lady that was dropping my groceries off from DoorDash, and she's really sweet. And I was like, hey, would you ever be interested in just like carrying copies of the book that we wrote in your car and then dropping them off at people's houses? And so part of our
Wow,
automation in Engage, when someone books a first consultation, we send her a text. Her name's Angie, and it says, Angie, please drop a
that
book
is
off at this
cool.
person's address. Here's their address. She goes, she drops it off. She takes a
Mm-hmm.
picture, uploads it to a form on Engage, and then we pay her. And so it's all automated. So people get warmed up that way. And then we also built a web page, we call it our intake page, that has an embedded form from Engage that checks the box for the waiver and then also has some basic health questions. And so they're warming themselves up even more by answering questions, confirming why this is important for them, what their goals are, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have automated confirmations built in that make it really easy, because you can build, you can build automations based on appointments, which is something we'd never been able to do before. Everything was just on Google Calendar. So there's lots of confusion, lots of human error. And I would think that if we hadn't spent, like, it was my primary focus for like 2 to 3 months, was like, I'm going to build this out and make it incredible. I think that there's probably a lot you could do with Engage just from day one with the pre-baked automations. But I was determined, like, I'm going to figure this out and build everything from scratch,
like the
and
amount of
make
work
it
in the beginning,
customized to our business. And I think that's served us really well,
like all of those
just in the
it's
last
like having,
few months or so.
It's really like having a personal assistant. I think that it would be impossible for you to have the volume that you have and remember every appointment and every follow-up, and ultimately people would fall off. So, and you'd be working 20 hours a day.
Totally. Yeah, and one of the things I'm really excited about is the new functionality where Studio and Engage communicate about appointments. And so we're going to be working this quarter to build appointment, like, automation reminders for people. Because somebody on our staff spends I'd say about 30 to 60 minutes a day collectively confirming appointments. We probably have 70 appointments a day outside of our group classes, like between one-on-one training, physical therapy, and nutrition coaching. It's probably maybe not 70, maybe 50, like 50 appointments a day that need to be confirmed between our two locations. And so that's like an individual text to someone confirming their appointment. And so now we're gonna
it takes
those
hours, the manpower hours away, but it does.
This appointment
it does,
coming up in 24
I love
hours.
That you took that time in
Please
the
reply
beginning.
to confirm.
But you're right. I would say it's probably, I think we say it's about 80% built out. If somebody wants to just come in and run Engage as is, you can do that. But to really like amplify and make it work for you, spending that time for sure helps. So you mentioned the lady who was dropping the groceries in the book. I think that's a brilliant marketing strategy, kind of grassroots marketing type strategy that you incorporated. What else do you do to maintain that member experience? And also just to, like, beyond paid ads or Facebook ads, what do you guys do? Community stuff? How do you create that experience within the gym and then even outside of the gym? And I would say, like, marketing as a whole, when you're in wellness and fitness, is twofold.
Like within the gym,
there's continued experiential marketing, right, for your current members, but then also generating new leads, new members. It looks different, right? Like you've got two different strategies going.
Well, we used to do, so I'll just start with what we do with paid marketing. So we used to do advertisements for quite a few different programs and offerings. Like we had nutrition ads running, we had ads for different physical therapists and their specialties. We had Google ads running for the physical therapists. We had a bunch of different Facebook ads, and we've realized that by far our most effective advertising was for our small group training program, specifically ads related to strength training. And so we cut everything except for the strength training ads. The only paid ads we do is for our small group training program. And we do a lot. We spend, $10,000 a month running those ads. And then we have a good website. Like, we worked with a web developer, built a website that works really well, that displays our program. And that's it for, like, paid marketing, advertising. And then we do a ton of stuff internally. So internally, we do client events where we encourage people to bring their friends. Like we just had a magic show at our new location, and we had it catered, and people could bring friends. And we've had a couple people sign up just because they came with a friend to that event. We go on hikes pretty regularly. We've done mini golf before.
Part of your nutrition
we take people on tours
stuff,
to the local farmers market.
Or in general. I
We take people grocery shopping, like we do grocery store tours. Yeah, definitely. There's an avocado farm near us. It's California.
sure.
Um, and so we go tour the avocado farm a couple times a year. We just had an ice bath event. So we partner with this guy who like
I
brings in ice bath and sauna and does a breathwork lecture and then lets people do the ice bath and the sauna. So we just did that for our clients. We try to do one thing a month. And then we also do one workshop a month. I do a senior strength workshop once a quarter. We do lots of physical therapy workshops like on bunions, knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain. We do a nutrition workshop once a
those are
month. And those are
those are
pretty much just
great.
internal.
Those
Like we
that's
market
exactly
them
what I
internally. We
was
tell people to bring their
referencing.
friends.
It's a
Um,
lot
and
less
then
expensive to keep your current members than it
what
is to
else do we
find new
do?
members. I mean that's for sure. So
Hmm.
have you I imagine you dive into the reporting of Zen Planner because it's vast
Oh,
and
totally.
robust and does all of the things. Do you
Yeah.
at reports daily, weekly? What are the most important aspects of your data that you're looking at?
Hmm. Yeah. So that was one of the other things I went on a kick about was our reporting because we were spending a lot of time mining for data. And so I instituted this rule that we will not track any
Mhm.
numbers that we cannot get to within 2 clicks.
That's a good.
And so we have
I
eliminated
do.
like anything we
I
can't
do.
build a
Yeah, I
report
do.
for and get to
I
within a
love
couple
the data.
clicks. We don't look at it. We don't track it. Do
Okay.
you want to see my spreadsheet? You do? I'll
Ooh,
share it.
that's
Let me
getting
share my screen.
complicated. Uh-huh.
Can you see this? Okay, so these are all hyperlinked to reports within
Little.
uh, Studio and
Mhm.
Engage. So this takes you directly to the number from last week. We were closed last week, so our numbers are much lower than they would normally be.
Mhm.
Um,
Man.
but this like directly takes you to the thing that you want to see within Studio or Engage and pulls the report
Mm.
up. Let me go to a monthly one. So like if I click on a
You are
revenue
doing
report,
it
it'll take me
very right.
directly to my account and I can instantly see revenue for last month for these programs. So I'm really big on reports and things like that. And so we've now connected all of our reporting to a spreadsheet in Google Docs
Yeah.
and hyperlink. Like I told our staff, like if we can't hyperlink it to a report in Studio or Engage, we're not going to track those numbers. Just because it doesn't make sense for us
Do
to
you
spend a bunch of
think
time trying to find data
so? When
that,
I always ask at the
number
end,
one, takes a lot of time
what's
to
your
find. Number
5-year goal?
two,
And
is prone
you
to
mentioned in
error.
the beginning
Um,
you want to open 20 locations. Um,
uh,
do you think like this is you will be able to replicate this? Do you have that number 20 in
mhm,
mind because you're like I can replicate this over and over again now in a much more like effective way? Rather because you went through the growing pains of that second location. You did it. You knew what not to do. So, like, what's the timeline on
mhm.
the 20 locations? What do you think?
I think we're going to go a lot slower but at the start here. So
Mhm.
it took us 6.5 years to go from
You want,
one to
do
two.
you want to
It'll probably take
franchise?
us
Is that a
3-ish years
goal,
for
or
go
is
to
that
two to
you just
three, and then maybe just
yeah
one more year to
have
go from 3 to 4, and then I think we can to start to go faster.
that's okay. That's all right. You own that. That's
I
fine.
don't think so.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm kind of a control freak, so yeah, yeah, I own it. Yeah, I think I'm curious to know, is strength training for people over 40 overseen by doctors of physical therapy, is that enough of a niche that it's scalable? Because everybody thinks that their business is great and scalable. And
yeah,
my
absolutely.
customers tell me all the time, like, oh, you guys have such a good business model. And it's like, well, they don't see how
No.
hard it is. Like, we work hard to get to viability. It's not like it's never been easy. It's never been like, oh, it's just like the money's flowing. And it feels like we've like grinded our way through every step of growth that we've had. Um, and I think we're in an industry that's challenging. Like the fitness industry, like most gym owners don't make very much
You're
money.
right.
They make less
It's
than like a
a
barista at Starbucks. I heard that
So I
stat
can say that
relative to how
that
many
niche
hours
that
they
you're
work.
referencing,
And so,
it's two parts.
yeah,
I was watching an interview about it was with a gym owner, and he only does small group. He calls it personal training. It's 6 to 1. Um, uh, and it's like his niche is 55 plus. They're not doctors of physical therapy, but
okay.
his idea is similar to yours in that I just want, like, there's this group of people, I want them to move better. This is who I'm trying to and he's generating a tremendous amount of revenue a month, it within in the model that he has created.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's really special about what you do is that physical therapy side of it. Like, I'm a gym owner, but I'm not a doctor of physical therapy. I've got there are other things that I've studied, but that isn't one of them. And so there are other offerings. And I do think that 40 plus age range, number one, like, they probably have more disposable income than, but also, like, we wake up in the morning and we kind of hurt. Like, I need to go see someone who's going to make me feel better. Like, it's a
Mm-hmm.
little different than like the mindset of a 28 or a 30-year-old who just feels good all the time. So
Yeah.
um, I think there's a huge
Yeah.
need there for that. Um, so obviously you have all of your
Mm-hmm.
systems in place. What would you say for like those green new gym owners or fitness business owners starting out, like, words of wisdom? What would you give them? I want to hear what you're Mhm.
Um, it would be so case dependent on who they are and where they're at in their journey. I think one of the best things that we've done is to get in touch with people that are ahead of us. When we started our business, we met with a couple like consultants, mentors, and just paid them for hours of their time and picked their brains, like from everything from how do you price
Mhm.
this to um, how do you market, how do you sell? And so I think if you can find someone that's already doing the thing that you want to do, it's just going to fast track your journey to success. You can also fail your way forward. I've done that a lot as well. Um, and then my second piece of advice would be just get really good at one thing at a time and optimize that thing and then move on to the next thing. I think a lot of business owners, especially those who've been doing it for a while, they run around like chickens with their
Reactive
heads
work
cut
rather
off.
than
They're
proactive
like
work.
they're constantly just putting out fires,
Yeah.
and not really
Well,
focused on
I really
solving any
enjoyed
specific
chatting
problems.
with you. I think that
So that's,
you're the type of
yeah,
person that
yeah, definitely,
our
definitely.
I just think that people can learn a lot from the way that you're doing things. Whenever I talk to people who are really like taking the bull by the horns and using software to help run business, we can always learn something. You can always learn something. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this,
Hmm.
and I want to learn more. So hopefully we get to follow up and chat a little bit more as you're growing
Yeah.
from 2 to, maybe it's like kids where you go from 1 to 2, and it's like a big step, but like 2 to 20 isn't so bad. I don't know. No. Yeah, yeah, three's a lot. Three's a lot for sure. Well, you go be with those kiddos this morning. Thank
No
you
way.
so much, Matt. I
No way.
appreciate
Can't do more than 3.